Okay, good morning, guys. How are you doing today? Good morning, online. Hope you had a nice Diwali. I hope you enjoyed. Okay, all right. So let's jump on. So what did we discuss in our last class? Security groups. Quick shootout. So what is security group? Security group is used to secure the EC2 instance, or else security groups acts like a firewall to secure the EC2 instance, or security group stops unauthorized access to the EC2, anything you can say. So basically security groups has two types of rules. What are those? Inbound rule and then outbound rule. So by default, inbound rules are allowed or deny? Deny. Outbound rules are allowed. Okay. So is it possible to, it is cross, huh? One second. So is it possible to deny in security group? Answer is no. So we can only allow. Okay. So do you all agree that we have a default security group? Yes, default security group. So we have a default security group. Yeah, settle on. Yeah. Is that fine now? Okay. Okay now. So this security, we have a default security group. Is it good to use the default security group or create a new security group? Use a default security group. So when we are comfortable with it, when we know much, so then we'll go for the creating a new security groups. So this security groups is stateful or stateless. Security group is a stateful. And which one is stateless? NACLs are stateless. So if you allow any inbound rule, do you need to allow that an outbound rule in a security group? No, that is why it is called stateful. So if you allow any inbound rule, you must allow that on outbound rule. That is stateless, which is NACL. What is the full form of NACL? Network Access Control List. So NACL also has similar like security group only. Yes, which one will hit first? NACL will hit first and then it will go to the security group. So in NACL also we have inbound rules and outbound rules. Do we have a default NACL also? Yes. So for default NACL, inbound rules and outbound rules are allowed. But when you create a new NACL, inbound rules and outbound rules are denied. Okay. So NACL is on which level? Subnet level. EC2 instance security group is EC2 instance level. Okay. I think this should be fine. So this is what we have discussed in our last class. So let's jump to today's topic. I'll ask a couple of questions here. Hanumant reminded me. So one subnet is associated to one availability zone, correct? one subnet can be in multiple availability zones at the same time? Answer is no. But one availability zone can have multiple subnets? Answer is yes. Similarly, one NACL is one subnet is associated to one NACL. One subnet can be in multiple NACLs? No. But one NACL can have multiple subnets? Answer is yes. Okay, good. Okay, can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Okay, so now let's talk about today auto scaling. We know this already. So what is auto scaling? Scale out and scale in. EC2 instances based on the load. Divya, you said scalability. So auto scaling meaning scale out, scale in. Scale out meaning adding or removing? Adding. Scale in meaning removing. Removing the EC2 instances. So whenever there is a demand on the traffic, auto scaling group will increase or decrease the number of EC2 instances. Agree? That is called auto. If someone asks what is auto scaling, you can say this. Whenever there is a demand on traffic, auto scaling group will scale out and scale in EC2 instances automatically. Is it clear? So let me put in representational diagrammatic format. So this is our favorite. What is this? Load balancer. And then we have the EC2 instances. Okay, no problem, Divya. So we have, this is EC2. And EC2 will have the application or not? Guys, EC2 will have the application or not? Yes, we have the application here. Similarly, like this, we have 2, 3. Like this, we have it. Okay. So you tell me, in this auto scaling group, is it good to keep same type of EC2 instance or different types of EC2 instances? Same type only. Very good. So whenever there is a load, automatically a new EC2 instances will be launched. Correct, Nana? Scale out and scale will be happening. So this is auto scaling group. ASG, auto scaling group. So for all EC2 instances, we should have the same type of EC2 instances. So whenever there is a demand, automatically scale out will happen. Yes or no? Yes, automatically scale out will happen. Whenever there is no demand, what will happen? Scale in will happen. Scale out and scale in will happen. And obviously we have a load balancer. We should have load balancer or not? Yes, we should have a load balancer in order to send the traffic to the EC2 instances. ELB. Tell me, ELB, who will monitor? Load balancer is monitoring your application or your EC2 instance? We discussed this. Think and answer. Load balancer monitors EC2 instance or application. Let's say if you say EC2 instance. Sometimes EC2 instance server is up, but inside application will be down. So if you're monitoring the server, application is not working. What is the use of monitoring then? So load balancer does the health checks for what? For application. And who is doing monitoring for EC2 instances? Which is the service for monitoring? Cloud? For monitoring. CloudWatch, right? So CloudWatch. So load balancer, ELB does the health checks for the application. ELB does the health checks for the application. And who does the monitoring for the EC2 instance? CloudWatch. Huh? Nah, scale out only. So it is increasing. Yeah. So CloudWatch monitors EC2 instances. Got it? So load balancer does the health checks to the application, not EC2 instances. Okay. And who is doing the monitoring for the EC2 instances? CloudWatch is doing the monitoring. Okay, now is this clear till here, everyone? We have health checks. And what is the status that you get for health check? 200. Nice. Okay. Assume, guys, see here. Listen this carefully. So now you have a requirement to set up your application with auto scaling. What is the statement here? You have to set up an application with the auto scaling. So without auto scaling, we can do it. Yes or no? Without auto scaling meaning you have one load balancer and 2-3 EC2 instances. That is fine. This auto scaling meaning whenever there is a demand, automatically scale out should be happen. Automatically scale in should be happening. Okay. Now you have a requirement to set up an application with auto scaling group. Good. What you did for that? You create a load balancer. You created a load balancer. After that, you need to set up EC2 instances or not? How many EC2 instances that you set up initially? How many? How many? Let's say, first of all, before scale out and scale in happen, you should have some EC2 instances, no? You understand? First of all, initially you need to have few EC2 instances. Let's say, okay, so you should ask, sir, based on what I need to put how many EC2 instances? Do I need to put 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or how many? So what in minimum is how much? 2. Minimum is 2. If you need to have a high availability, how many EC2 instances you need to have? At least 2. Okay, now my customer said, hey, you need to ask your customer saying that, hey, customer, how many people will be accessing this application? He'll say, let's say 50 people. For 50 people, let's say, for example, can we start our setup with 4 EC2 instances? Yes or no? So based on the load, based on how many people your application is getting access, so you need to assume and set up initial number. That is called desire capacity. What is that called? Desire. What is desire? Your wish, no? Desire meaning what? Wish. I desire to have today some nice food. Why is Saru always talking about food? Huh? Something else. I desire to have something today, something really good, right? What is desire meaning? Wish, right? So how many EC2 instances that initially you wish to have? That is called desire capacity. How many we thought now? 4. How many we thought now? 4. So that meaning 4 EC2 instances initially you have. Then now you will say to auto scaling group, you will say, hey, auto scaling group, keep my CPU utilization, average CPU utilization as 70%. You put a rule to the auto scaling group. What are you putting? A condition. What you are putting? Your condition. You're putting the condition to auto scaling group saying that, hey, auto scaling group, keep my average CPU utilization as 70%. If it is CPU utilization going greater than 70%, scale out will happen. If the CPU utilization is going less than 70%, scale in will happen. So in olden days, So this auto scaling, we need to do a lot of setup, but now it has become self-intelligent. You need to just tell auto scaling group, hey, auto scaling group, maintain the CP utilization 70%. That's it. Maintain the CP utilization as 70%. You just tell it. And then it is auto scaling responsibility to make sure the group should have average CP utilization as 70%. If it is going greater than 70%, what will happen? Scale out will happen. If it is 40%, 30%, do you need these many EC2 instances? Scale in will happen. So in your group, you need to have minimum EC. How many EC2 instances? Minimum 2. Desired capacity? Desired capacity? Depend upon your, but how much I said now? 4. What is your desired capacity? 4. Now, how many EC2 instances that you want to scale out? 10 or 20 or 30, you need to put a limit, no? In your group, that is called maximum. That is called maximum. Maximum, how much you will put? We'll put 6. Example, 6 we'll put it, or 10 you'll put it. So what is the minimum? 2. Desired capacity? 4. Maximum? 10. So you need to give these values while you are creating your auto scaling group. So what are those? What are the things we have? Minimum, maximum, desired capacity. What are those? Minimum, maximum, desired capacity. Now, how does this minimum, maximum work? So what is your desired capacity? Desired capacity meaning you understood how many EC2 instances that you first initially you need to have. How many you said now? 4, no? So 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this? Desired capacity or not? This is my DC. Can I call it as DC? My DC is how much? 4. Minimum, how much you said? Minimum 2. Maximum, how much you said? 10. I'll put 6. No space. Okay. So how many EC2s are there now? There. On the paint, how many EC2s are there? 4 are there. Now, scale out is happening. One more EC2 instance will get launched or not? How many are there now? Scale out is happening. One more EC2 instance will get or launch or not? How many are there? Scale out is happening. One more EC2 instance will get launched? Yes or no? Answer is no. Because it has reached the maximum 6. You understand what is the maximum? Minimum, maximums are boundaries. Minimum, maximum are boundaries. So maximum you can have here 6. Can you put 60 also? Based on your requirement, you can put it. Don't, guys, remember in your, whenever you get jobs and you go to real time, don't stick with what I'm saying. Don't say, hey, my Riyaz sir told only to put maximum 6. I don't care. I'm unstoppable, right? So don't say this. So based on your requirement, you need to change it. Here I need to give some examples. No, for that reason I mentioned as 6. So 6, this minimum, desired capacity, maximum, these are all constant values? No. Depend upon your requirement and load, you can increase it. Okay, now scale out is not happening. Okay, now there is no load. Scale in should happen or not? Scale in is happening. How many students are there? Scale in is happen. How many are there? Scale in happen. How many are there? Scale in is happen. How many are there? Possible? That is minimum. That is minimum. So I understood minimum, maximum, desired capacity. So minimum, maximums are boundaries. Desired capacity meaning how, if you need to start the auto scaling with how many EC2 instances, that is your desired capacity. Understood? And you need to give the condition, Babu, auto scaling group, maintain the group average CP utilization as this much percentage. And percentage also, I gave an example of 70%. Will you stick with it? No, in your requirement, based on your requirement. Hey, in the practice now, if you want me to repeat again, Veera, where are you, Veera? Put your phone aside, Veera. Oh, network got disconnected. Okay. So is this clear till here, everyone? So minimum, I'm repeating, minimum, maximum, desired capacity. Minimum, maximum are boundaries. Minimum, maximum are boundaries. Desired capacity meaning how many EC2 instances that you wish to have initially is called the desired capacity. How much is minimum? 2. Can I put minimum 20 also? If you have a huge number of servers, can you have minimum 20? You can have it. It's based on the requirement. Should I go and write all these things now for you? Yes. Minimum, maximum, and then desired capacity. The minimum number of EC2 instances that auto scaling group should have. Example, minimum 2. The maximum number of EC2 instances, maximum 6. Desired capacity meaning the number of EC2 instances that you wish or desire to have to launch initially. That is called minimum, maximum. Sir, if we need to deploy an application feature in EC2, how many EC2s we need to deploy? No, minimum and maximum are just boundaries, yes or no? How many EC2s that you have in your group represent the desired capacity, yes or no? Sir, how to decide? You didn't understood Munishwara and Prashant properly. So again, I'm saying, let's say, for example, boom.com. Let's take an example of boom.com. So we have thousands of customers that boom.com, they want to access it. Tell me, 1,000 customers are there. So now 1,000 customers are there, no? So assume that 1,000 members are there. Now you want to set up the boom.application application with auto scaling group. So initially, how many EC2 instances that you'll put? Initially, how many EC2 instances that you would? 15, huh? Okay, let's say 15, he said. Okay, so 15, or let's say 10 EC2 instances. 10 EC. So 10 EC2 instances are enough to support 1,000 customers? Aram say you can do it. That is a deciding factor. How did you set 10? Based on the traffic, you need to do the capacity planning. You need to do the capacity. That is your desired capacity. So initially you need to set up 10. Okay, now boom.com, you started working. How many instances are there? 10. That is desired capacity or not? That is desired capacity. Now you get to know that these 1,000 customers, next Friday, they will increase to 2,000 customers. So you have something in your mind that maximum how much it should reach. Maximum how much it should reach for 2,000 customers, meaning one more 10. That means maximum how many? 20. Can you put maximum as 20 then? So minimum, it's up to you. Put 2 or 5 or up to you. Because if you put minimum, that minimum EC2 instance will be running all the time. That means your application will go down anytime? Never. Because minimum to minimum 2 EC2 instances. So you need to think minimum how many customers will be accessing your boom.com. Based on that, you need to decide 2, 10, 15, you need to decide. That is a deciding factor. Understood? Munishwar Rao and others. Okay, next. We have 3 types of scaling options. 3 types of scaling options. One is called manual scaling. I'll write. Manual scaling, schedule scaling, and dynamic scaling. So what are the 3 types of scaling options we have? Louder. Manual scaling, schedule scaling, dynamic scaling. Manual scaling meaning, let's say for example, what is the minimum value here? 2. Desired capacity 4. Maximum 6. How much is desired capacity? 4. Now I went and edited and changed 4 to 5. What will happen? What will happen? I have edited. Now in my group, how many instances are there? 4 EC2 instances. That is my desired capacity. How many are there? 4 are there. Now I edited desired capacity from 4 to 5. What will happen? one more EC2 instance will get launched. Yes or no? 5 will be running. Simple as that. So if you're modifying these values manually, that is called manual scaling. That is called manual scale. Schedule scaling. Schedule scaling meaning, let's say next Friday, we have a Christmas sale, for example, or Diwali sale. On Diwali sale, that is a schedule or not? Next Friday is Diwali, for example. We already done it, right? So next Friday is Diwali, or next Friday is some festival. On that day, this 5 or 4 EC2 instances will be sufficient? No, on that day, you need more. So on that day, what you do is you can do a schedule scaling. What do you need to do? Schedule scaling. Schedule scaling meaning you can put minimum maximum desired capacity of how much ever you want. At that particular time, automatically those many EC2 instances will be launched. That is called schedule scaling. Particular time or particular period of a day, automatically you can schedule it based on the schedule, based on your desired capacity, automatically EC2 instances will get launched and it will support the traffic. And last one, here we have dynamic scaling. Dynamic scaling doesn't depend upon the time, doesn't depend upon manual thing, purely depend upon the load. How much CPU utilization, how much load you are getting, based on that scale out will happen. How there is no load, scale in will happen. You understand? You understand? So manual scaling, schedule scaling, dynamic scaling. You tell me out of these three, which one is the best option for us? Dynamic. So in certification also they'll ask this. So you have scaling option called manual, schedule, and dynamic. So dynamic doesn't matter. Any time you will get the traffic, automatic scale out will happen. You understand? So that is three things. Let's write down. So if you are manually modifying values, schedule scaling meaning based on the time period or a day. Dynamic scaling meaning based on the load. Now, based on the load meaning, can I check CPU utilization load? Can I check network load? Can I check how many requests are coming, etc.? So all these are called metrics. What do we call? What is CPU called? Metric. What is network utilization called? Metric. Everything. What is memory called? Metric. So all these things we learn in CloudWatch, metrics related thing. Is it clear? Online, is this clear till here, everyone? Online, it's just matter of pressing CC 2 times. Just put CC, huh? Yes. Okay, so now I am asking one question here. What are the uses? There is question from Rupali. What are use case for schedule or dynamic? I just given use case for schedule. What is the use case I have given? Diwali sale. Rupali. Okay. So you can see, okay, if you're asking the difference between schedule scaling and dynamic scaling, dynamic scaling will be there for you forever. But on schedule scaling, if you want to have extra EC2 instances, especially on Friday, then go for the schedule scaling. Otherwise, for normal purpose, go for the dynamic one. So Dhanasri is asking, what is metric? CPU utilization is one metric. Network is one metric. Memory is one metric. So based on what conditions scale out should happen? Based on the metric only. Yes or no? Based on the metric only, no, scale out should happen. If you take a metric called CPU, if the CPU utilization is average CPU utilization greater than 70% or average CPU utilization is 70%, then scale out should be happening. So metric meaning that CPU utilization, all this called metrics. Okay, now I'm asking one question here. So scale out has happened. Scale out has happened. Scale out has happened meaning one more EC2 instance will get launched. Yes or no? That EC2 instance will contain application automatically or not? How does the auto scaling knows to put the application there? Louder. You understand the question? I'm asking the question again. Scale out will happen, no? Okay, DC how much for? Working. In all EC2 instance, applications will be there or not? Scale out has happened. That means one more EC2 instance will get launched or not? So that EC2 instance, how does the auto scaling group know what type of EC2 instance should it launch and how does it put the application inside it? Based on? Previous? Okay, what is that called? Excellent. What is that called? AMI. Remember? So our offline people answered. So AMI, what is that? AMI. Do you remember how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps. So what we need to do is all these 7 steps we'll create as a template. All these 7 steps we'll create it as a template. So you don't know the 7 steps, but the entire classes on EC2, we are talking about the 7 steps only individually. One of the steps is to select AMI. Did we cover AMI? What is the AMI that we need to select? Which operating system? In Linux, which flavor? Red Hat. So we need to select one AMI. And one more step is to select instance type. Which is the instance type that we should be using? T2 micro. 2 steps are done. And then we need to select security group. Which security group we need to select? Default security group. So 3 are done. We need to provide tags. What is tag? Key value pair. We have in IAM, we have discussed no tags. We need to give the tag. So all this information we need to give. So all this information we create that as a template. We create it as a template. So we call it as launch template. What we call? Launch template concept is older. Now latest we got launch configuration. What is that? You can call it as launch template also, or you can call it as launch configuration. So I would vote for launch configuration. Launch template meaning older concept. Same name difference. You understand what I'm saying? So launch template or launch configuration. Now see here, listen this carefully. All those in that template, that meaning it contain all the configuration or not? What configurations? Launch configurations. You're launching the EC2 instance. No, how many steps are there to launch? 7 steps. Every step you will just fill out, select the configuration. No, and then lastly you will launch the EC2 instance. Instead of doing it manually, what you do? You select all these things, whatever you want, and create as a template. From this launch template, can we launch an EC2 instance or not? Of course we launch. And we will create this launch template and keep it like this. And then we'll ask auto scaling group, hey, auto scaling group, when you're launching EC2 instance, use that template. Use that template. But how does this application, how does the EC2 instance contain application? Nana, we need to select AMI, no? Can we have our own AMI with our application inside? Yes or no? You understand this point? Okay. There are, okay, let's say I have set up I have launched one EC2 instance. I have installed application inside it. I've deployed it. And then I created an AMI. What is that AMI called? Custom AMI. What is that AMI called? Custom AMI. Okay. That custom AMI is readily available for us. What does the custom AMI contains inside it? Application or not? Louder. That custom AMI contains application. And then what you need to do? You need to create a launch template or launch configuration. In that launch configuration, 7 steps are there. No, in one of the 7 steps, you need to select an AMI. No, which AMI will you select? Custom AMI. What does the custom AMI contains? Application. Simple. So whenever you launch the whenever auto scaling group launch the EC2 instance, your application will also come with it. You understand this point? So this concept is called launch configuration. What is that, Nana? Launch configuration or launch template. So what does this contain? Launch configuration meaning it contains EMI, which contain your application. What are the things it contains? It contains details of volumes also. It contains the details of security group. It contains the details of instance type. It contains the details of tags. It's etc. etc. Key pair also it contains, correct or not? Key pair, etc. So auto scaling group meaning it's a combination of, you need to have load balancer or not? You should have EC2 instance or not? Plus you need to have launch configs or not? And then if you need to send a notification, what is the concept you should use? To send a notification, which service you use? SNS use. So auto scaling group meaning it's a combination of this thing. So you need to just tell to auto scaling, keep my auto scaling group average CPU utilization as 70%. If you say this, everything auto scaling will take care of scale out and scaling. Now, auto scaling group will have a launch configuration attached or not? Auto scaling group has LC, launch configuration attached. Is this clear on auto scaling group, everyone? LC, launch configuration, shortcut. You understand these points? Online clear? Mostly. Then only we need to be panic, no? If it is reaching more than 70-80%, then only we'll get panic because CPU utilizations are high. Then only you need new machines to distribute the load. Okay, Nana. Is it clear offline, everyone? Okay. Similarly, just like this, see, I'll give a funny example. You have your occasions, no, at your home. Let's say guests are coming. I'm your guest. I said, hey, 20 people are coming to your home. So you need to prepare food for it. What will you do? Do you do the capacity planning or not? For 20 members, meaning how much biryani I need to prepare, how much big dabra, right? And how much, I don't know how much, right? Like this. So is there any calculator mechanism to do that? It depends upon the knowledge, correct? How much meat or how much, if you are vegan, right? It depends upon your capacity planning. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go to next very, very important topic, which is elastic load balancer, ELB, load balancer. Now, what is load balancer? Correct. So that's, I think, Munishwara and others who are saying that's correct. But I would recommend whatever the words that I have used, if you use that word, it will be easier in the interview also, right? If you say transfer request, that wordings, if you use it in interview, interviewer will not be comfortable with you, because if you're really a working guy, if you have completely learned the topic, you don't use the words. You should use distribute concept. Distribute the traffic to the multiple EC2 instances across availability zone. If you say this, oh, you need, you know the concept, he will understand, he'll get a good feel. Okay. So load balancer, ELB, which distribute the traffic to multiple EC2 instances across availability zones. We know this since day one. We are learning about the concept. Load balancer is completely managed by ELB, is completely managed by AWS. ELB is a service or server? ELB is a service by AWS, not a server for us. Is it possible to log into the load balancer or access the load balancer? ELB can be accessed by URL or DNS name. Can you log in? You cannot log into the ELB. Okay. If you want me to put this diagram, so many times we have learned this. Again, I'm putting it. This is our load balancer. What are these EC2 instances? This time sizes has increased, but EC2. Does it has application also or not? Yes. So application, for example, I'm putting what application? Index.louder. Louder. What is that? Index.html. Can I have this EC2 instance in 1A? This one in 1B, this one in 1C. This is my ELB. Whenever you create a load balancer, AWS will give you the DNS name or not? That is a nice URL or nasty URL? Nasty. Or how do you do the makeup? Route 53. How does the URL look like? http://myelb dot random numbers dot ap minus south minus 1 dot elb dot amazon aws.com. So it will be like this, some random URL. But is it good to give this URL to customer? So what you do the makeup. Where do you do the makeup? Route 53. You do the makeup as http://boom.com. Whenever someone hit boom.com, it goes to your load balancer. Okay, na? Okay, see. Should I give you one small, quick, real-time example that I have faced in my company? Why not, sir? Oh, okay. Let's see. Guys, in my company, did I told about that? Yes or no? Okay. So, I was with a company called Napa. What was that? Not Papa. Napa. What is that? So that's a Finnish company. Finnish meaning Finland. I told you, no, I was in Europe for many years. I worked in Finland. I worked in Romania. I worked in Germany. I worked in Stockholm. Many places I worked. So that company is morely, we deal with big ships. You know, ship. Titanic. You watch Titanic movies? So many times, sir. Okay. So we had so many ships. So we have so many. Which is do you know the company names of the ships? Anyone sailed on ship till now? Anyone sailed online? Traveled? No. Okay. Yeah, Corolla. Okay. So, okay. So I sailed many times because our work, what our company do is, let's say, for example, you take your car, for example, if you have a car or bike, whichever it is, you take car. If you want to monitor your car, what are the things that you can monitor for your car? I'm the owner. And I said, Babu, tell me my car condition. And what are the things do you check? Huh? Tell me. Engine you'll check. Mileage you check. How much fuel you are putting, I'll check. Tire pressure you will check. How much speed it is going, check. How much kilometers per hour you'll check. How AC is working, you check. How the clutch is working, how the accelerator is going, how the brakes are coming, right? How is the engine, how is everything, whatever you have. So basically, if you take a small car itself, you have so many metrics. What are these called? So many metrics to monitor, no? Just imagine you have a big ship and your ship owner says, hey, tell me how my ship is performing. That meaning we need to collect all the information about the ship or not. So in that company, when I was there was no, I don't have time to tell that story. But the thing is, I was only one person in that company. I was only one person. So my manager said, you need to set up. So my manager said, hey, we have so many customers. I'll tell you a few company names like Viking Line is there. Disney, have you heard about Disney? Cruise lines, right? Disney, oil tankers are there, passenger ships, cruise ships are there, seaborne ships are there. There's so many companies are there traveling. So I was very fortunate. I travel also many times in Black Sea, not Black Sea, some sea. So next to Finland, we have a sea in between two countries. So it was completely snow. It's not only snow. Snow is on the land. On the sea, it is like ice. The sea is completely, it's frozen. It's freezed. Our ship, what it do is, it will break. That's called icebreaker ship. So when you are in naval time, you'll understand all this thing. So that was really wonderful time, right? Wonderful travel where we used to travel from one country to another country, right? We used to go on the deck meaning on the top, right? And then we used to watch breaking the iceberg. The ship is going, and then it was really fun. And it was minus 35 or minus 40 degrees. You understand? You cannot open your phone and take a photo also, because without gloves, you cannot handle it. So that much cold we have. Okay, so what our company used to do is, we will what I have architected in that company was, the entire data we used to put sensors in the ship. What we put? Sensors. So entire ship information the sensors will collect. From that sensors, I'm telling the architecture how I did. So all the information, guys, it is ship. No, ship will be on the ocean and sea. No, do you have internet connection? Do you have a wire going from the ship in the back? No, right? So it will go through satellite. We use satellite. So we'll use the internet connection from the satellite. So all the data will go to the satellite. From the satellite, I have designed in AWS the architecture where we'll get the information from the satellite. And then we have all the infrastructure setup that you are learning now from me, the entire setup. And then our developers, what they do is, we will get the raw data, right? Like weather data also we'll get. Now, if you want to, what we call it as voyage, what we call from one place to another place. If you're going by ship, we call it as voyage. And here we have GPRS, no? On land. If you want to go from one place to one place, you use GPRS. How do you use it in on ocean? Do you have GPRS on ocean? Think, right? So we have this. So, and also on the ocean and on the ocean, you cannot chumma blind close your eyes and travel. You lost. It's a big one, right? So what you need to do is, and also the voyage, the path that you select. Okay, let's say for example, from here to some other Vijayawada, if you want to go, will you select the nice route, or you will go for the wrong nasty route? Nice route only, no? Highway route you'll go. Similarly, here also, you have a different types of routes where in between you will have so much of storms, whirlpools, tides. What do you call? You understand? In Telugu, waves, alalu, sudigundalu, right? Right? There are whirlpools, there are so many. So weather will be so much, so bad, such there might be a problem that ship might also get sink. So what we used to do is we will get all the weather information from the satellites, and our developers, what they do is they will process all this information and then they'll put it in a website. That website will be used by the captain. So they'll use our website. The captain will open the website and he'll put the information inside it. And they'll say from this place to this place, let's say from Mumbai to like Saudi Arabia, I want to go. So our software, what it does, it will get the weather information. It will give the nice route and way. So they'll use this way to go to sail basically. So all these things that we develop, and also safety measures also we do, just in case somewhere ship got getting some water inside it. So if something forbidden, something has happened, automatically the doors will get shuttered. There will have partitions that will get shuttered automatically. So that sensors, all this, these are all the jobs that we used to do in my company. So you understand the whole idea. The problem here is, assume here, these are all the ships. And that too, I'm the only one person who designed all these things, guys. Assume we have, how many ships are there? 4 ships are there. Now, every ship will have its own network or not? And we used to go to engine room also. You know how scary the engine room will be? Have you seen engine room in Titanic movie? Oh, why did you see engine room? You're seeing, watch, okay. Okay. So, okay, don't go and watch it now. Engine room, Titanic scene. There will be different scene coming there. So you will be watching hero heroine, but the back end they have an engine room, right? Your ears will blast due to that sound. Okay. Anyways, so we have a network also. In each and every ship, we have a network. And when I was first time traveling, even I thought, Ari Babai, ship meaning so many waves will be there on the ocean, no? Right? And then we'll be just doing like this. We'll jumping from one place to another place and we cannot sit properly. I used to think all these things before. You know, when I was into ship, there you have so many restaurants where they used to place glasses on very tiny glasses, very delicate glasses. They have arranged. That will not also fall down. That will not also fall down. No. So the ship will be very, very constant. It will not move. I mean, it will not do left and right. No, it will not. So I hope you also should get one time chance to sail by ship. Huh? Good. It will be good fun. Okay. So anyways, we have all this network. Okay. Nana, they're accessing our website called, for example, http://boom.com. Which one? Boom.com meaning I'll have a load balancer in the backend or not in my infrastructure. Yes or no? And I have EC2 instances. Listen this carefully. This is my ELB and this is the EC2 instance we have. So I have given this boom.com. Boom.com is nothing but it is pointing to this my load balancer or not? Yes or no? Guys, boom.com is a nasty, ELB has a nasty URL. I have made up to, I did the makeup to the boom.com. So boom.com meaning is nothing but my load balancer only or not? Yes or no? Okay. Now everyone started accessing my boom.com load balancer. For everyone it is working. But this customer saying that, hey, do you all agree that every ship, every network will have firewall inside it? Yes or no? Every ship, every network will have the firewall. This customer said, hey, Riaz, I know your website name is boom.com, but I don't want boom.com. Can you give me the IP address of your website? I want to put that IP address in the firewall. You understand this point? You understand this point? What he's asking is, I don't want boom.com. I don't want boom.com website name. I want the IP address of your boom.com. So I told you in initial days, what is the command to see the IP address of any website? Excellent. NS lookup. Remember? So, okay. So fine. So what I did was, he said to me, that meaning he want to have the IP addresses of my website. Boom.com is nothing but he's talking about my load balancer or not? Load balancer is a server or service managed by, yes or no? If it is a server, then I'll have the IP address. It is a load balancer, which is a service from AWS. Do I get an IP address? Then I said, can I give the IP address of my EC2 instance? No, that is EC2 instance should be always private. I should not expose. Then I said to customer, hey customer, we are using AWS. There is concept called load balancer. It is a service, not a server. Why you are telling, he said, why you are telling all this to me? I don't want to learn AWS. Why you are telling all this thing? Give me the IP address. Then I said, Are Babu, macha. In AWS, there is no IP address. There is a concept called load balancer. He said, please stop it. Give me the IP address. I said, Arey, I have AWS. In AWS, I have load balancer. There is no IP address for it. Oh, for your website, you don't have IP address, huh? Arey, Gawar. Right? So do you understand what I'm saying? You understand, be in my shoes and think. Customer is asking for the IP address, but is it possible for me to give the IP address? No. Then customer got upset. And he sent this much big mail to my CEO saying that you want to do business with us or not. And CEO came to me and said, and we call it as president in Finland. There is no CEO concept. He came to me because we are all hardly 200 people. He came to me and said, we had discussion. Riaz, what has happened? I got an escalation from customer that give the IP address. No, I said, sir, AWS load balancer, no IP address. Why are you telling to me all these things, Riaz? Give me the IP address. Sir, please understand. In AWS, there is no IP address. Huh? No IP address in AWS. You understand? They are not able to understand the technical thing from my backside, right? So what he said is, I don't know, Riaz, please do something, he said. So then I was started thinking about this. Then I use this NS lookup. So Nana, how do you access load balancer? Load balancer is a URL or not? URL is nothing but the domain name, DNS name or not? When I did NS lookup for the DNS, I got the IP address. So I was very happy. And then I gave this IP address to my customer after so much of discussion. And customer said, see, this is what I want. You're not able to understand my question since we have wasted 10 days. Okay. You got the IP address, now take it. So finally, he has put the IP addresses in his firewall and he said, congratulations, very good. It started working. Then next day, he again sent a mail saying that, Riaz, your website is not working again. Then when I went and checked load balancer IP address with NS lookup, IP address got changed. IP address got changed. Then I said, oh, I'm sorry, IP address got changed and please take this new IP address. And he started saying, he said, thank you, I'm using it. Next day again, he came and said that not working. When I check, IP address is changed. Then I'll get to know, I got to know load balancer has the IP address. That IP address is static or dynamic? Dynamic. Is it possible to give to the customer every day one IP address? No. Customer got frustrated again. You see, I'm only one person in the company to handle this entire cloud. You understand the pain? So then I sent an big email to AWS. And because my customer says that I don't want to continue business with you, your company is not able to give one single IP address to me. And it's a matter of crores of rupees. Just with one IP address, entire deal is going off. And all the board of directors, they called me into the meeting room and started tong on my head. Do something. You don't know how to do. So then I sent an email to AWS. AWS said that, hey, AWS, I want the IP address of my load balancer. AWS said in capital letters, no. Answer is no. Are Haule, I know it is no. But the problem here is my customer is asking for the IP address. I cannot lose the business. Please do something. And he said another in capital, it is not recommended to use the IP address of the load balancer. Please use the DNS name. That's also I wrote it here. Yes or no? Then what's the problem? Then again, I send an email saying that please do something. So what has happened is at that time, Nana, see this logic. This is the load balancer, no? This load balancer is a service or server? Service. This is the load balancer. This is the load balancer. It's a service. Okay. So now it is a service for us, but load balancer is not in the back end of AWS. It has servers only or not? Agree? It has servers only or not? For us, it is a service, but in the back end, there will be having a servers. Now, do you need to worry about the scalability of load balancer? Do we need to worry about the elasticity of load balancer? Do we need to about scale out, scaling of the load balancer, performance of the load balancer, high availability of the load balancer? Nothing. Because everything is handled by AWS. So in the backend, they have what? Servers. Yes or no? In the backend, they have the servers. So whenever you get a huge traffic on the load balancer, in the backend, server will scale out to scale in based on the load. Yes or no? That is handled by whom? AWS. For us, it is service. But in the backend, AWS has so many machines in the backend, scaling out to scaling in, scaling out to scaling in. Then what this guy said to me, they have asked so many questions. And what is the only suggestion that he has given me is, they said, this is not recommended by AWS, but we are giving the solution to you. What he said is, you need to compromise on the performance of the load balancer. He said, that meaning, scale out scaling will be happening not on the based on the load. Only 4 or 5 machines I'll attach in the back end of the load balancer on the AWS side. So if you get huge load also, how many machines will be there? Only 5. It will be go to 100? No. So these 5 machines IP addresses he has given to me, and I gave that 5 IP address to the customer. And the IP address will change now? No. The IP address will be within the 5 only. So like this, this is another solution which AWS is not recommended. So like this, I have managed it. But later, AWS, based on this kind of problems, AWS has introduced one more feature that we'll talk about soon. But do you understand the concept here? Right? Load balancer has IP address. It has IP address, but it's static or dynamic? Dynamic. If you want to static, you need to check with the AWS. But is it recommended? No. Is it recommended to use DNS name or IP address for your load balancer? DNS name. You understand? Okay. So ELB has the IP address, but these are dynamic. These are dynamic. AWS always recommend to use the ELB DNS name, not IP address. So whatever I'm teaching, this is all based on my real-time experience. Okay, nowhere you will get all these things. Okay, Nana, see here. Is it clear till here, everyone? Okay. Now we have different types of load balancer. What is that? Types of load balancer. Types of elastic load balancer. Types of elastic load balancer. Okay. The first load balancer that AWS came up with is called classic load balancer. What is it, Nana? In shortcut, what do we call? Wow. CLB. And your load balancer CLB is working on which protocol? HTTP, HTTPS, and TCP. What are the protocols it works on? HTTP, HTTPS, and this has now become previous generation. What is that? Previous generation meaning, do we use this? Previous generation meaning, do we use this? So this is classic load balancer is old one. The very starting days of AWS, they came up with classic load balancer concept. So now you got so much of requirement and a lot of modern techniques, so many languages we got, so many scripting languages, so Java, Bava, so many got it. So classic load balancer doesn't support so many features. For that reason, AWS came up with next level, new generation load balancers. So that is called application load balancer. What is that, Nana? Application load balancer. And then one more, we have here something called network load balancer. Say that. Network load balancer. And one more, gateway load balancer. What are the load balancers we have? In louder. Application load balancer, network load balancer, classic load balancer, gateway load balancer. In shortcut, say ALB, NLB, CLB, GLB. Say that. ALB, NLB, CLB, GLB. One more song. Application load balancer, network load balancer, classic load balancer, gateway load balancer. So in out of this, which one is the previous generation load balancer? Classic, which we don't use it. So which one are latest generation? Rest, all these are all latest generation only. These are all latest generation. Previous generation meaning your generation, latest generation meaning my generation. Why are you laughing? Oh, reverse ulta. Huh? Okay, take it, no problem. Okay, latest generation. So as we call it as latest generation, which is the, okay, now out of this, which is the most common load balancer that we use in our real time? Hey, correct. Which one? Application load balancer, because we always deal with application, no? If the default choose for everyone, 99% is which load balancer? Application load balancer. Very rare people will go with network and gateway. So which one is the default choose? Application load balancer. So default choose. Default choose is ALB. ALB. Nana, this works on HTTP and HTTPS. Which protocols? HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, nowadays, have you heard about Docker, Kubernetes, all these things? These are all called microservices, no? We call it as microservice. So for Docker, Kubernetes also, we need to have load balancers or not? So which load balancer would you suggest for Docker, so Kubernetes, all these things nowadays, latest technology? Application. So this is also best to choose, so or best for microservices. Which one? Application load balancer. Which one? Okay, now you have a requirement that you need to have extreme high performance on network level, not application level, network level. We are talking about bus. Now I am talking about road. Bus is different, road is different. Yes or no? Yes or no? Road is like TCP, no? Bus is like HTTP. Inside it, you have data. Similarly here also, so if you want to have extreme high performance on the network level, which load balancer will you choose? Network load balancer. So extreme high performance. And it worked on which protocol? TCP and remember UDP we have learned in starting days, TCP, UDP. TCP and UDP. And this network load balancer worked on which level? Network level. Which level? You understand? Getting it? Application load balancer and network load balancer. And does the load balancer provide static IPs? Does the load balancer provide static IPs? We have discussed till now the problem, no? So does it provide static IPs or dynamic IPs? Dynamic. So no one will provide static IPs. So after that, this network load balancer supports static IPs now. This guy supports static. How? One static IP per availability zone. How many static IPs per availability zone? One static IP per availability zone. Certification questions, guys. So which is the load balance support static IPs? Network load balancer. How many static IPs? One per availability zone. That how many in Mumbai? 3. 1 per availability zone. So don't call it as 3 because some regions might have multiple availability zones, 3, 4, 5 based on it. So 1 per availability zone. Is it clear? Okay, coming to gateway load balancer. Gateway load balancer we don't use much because it is third party security appliance. Which one, Nana? Third party. Let's say if you want to install firewall, if you want to install some kind of prevention tools, for that you need to have a separate load balancer. Which load balancer would you choose for those kind of security purpose? Gateway load balancer. So write down. So if you want to deploy, manage, and scale a fleet of third-party network virtual appliance in AWS, then go with the gateway load balancer. And if you want to install, if you want to put firewalls, any prevention systems, then go for it. In inspection tools, go for it. And it uses which protocol? Say that. What is it? What is the protocol? Geneve. Or Geneve, how much ever thick your tongue is, based on it you can pronounce. So Geneve protocol. Which port number? 6081. Which port number? Which port number? What protocol? Geneve. What protocol? Geneve. Which load balancer? See here. See in my eyes. See here. How many types of load balancers are there? What are those? ALB, NLB, CLB, GLB. Okay, na? Which is the most common load balancer that we use? Application load balancer. Application load balancer works on which protocol? HTTP and HTTPS. So if I need to have extreme high performance, which load balancer would you select? Network load balancer. On which protocol? TCP and UDP. TCP and UDP. So which one is the previous generation load balancer? Classic. Works on which protocol? HTTP, HTTPS and TCP. And which one is used for third-party virtual security virtual appliance? Gateway. Which protocol? Geneve. Port number? Okay. And now, which is the most common load balancer that we use in an application load balancer? So we need to do a little bit deeper on application load balancer, no? So here in application load balancer, separately we have something called routing features. What is it, Nana? Routing features. We call it as host-based routing, path-based routing, string parameter routing, etc. So I don't want to write all here. So many, what type of routings are there? Say that. Host-based routing, path-based routing. Mainly what are those two? Host-based routing, path-based. We need to talk about this. Still tell again. Host-based routing, path-based routing. And we have string parameter routing also. String parameter routing, developers, you will understand. And sometimes you have your URL. In internet, you have URL on top, google.com something. So there, sometimes, did you saw like this? Like question mark course is like this. Yes, sir. Course is equal to AWS, something like this. What is that? String parameter. You are sending the parameter in the string. So if that is called string parameter. I'll talk about more about host-based routing and path-based routing. But developers online, do you understand this string parameter routing? If at all you want to have routing like this based on the string parameters, we can do it using application load balancer also. Okay, let us talk more about it. Is it clear till here, everyone? Online, is this clear till here? Online chitties. Super. Just like our class link, correct. Okay. See here, I'll tell you the clear difference now. What is this? Load balancer. What is this? Load balancer. Okay. I want one small name. Give me one small name. Yes. Huh? Tell me your names. Sai. Sai.com. Very good. Small name. Sai.com. Okay. So now I have Sai.com. Okay. Now, so if I want to have Sai.com, I need to have a load balancer or not? I need to have a load balancer. And then in the backend, we need to have EC2 instance or not? And what does this EC2 instance contain? Sai.com. Yes or no? Sai website will be there. Sai.com website will be there. Okay. Load balancer is sending the traffic. Listen this carefully. Okay. Now I have only Sai.com, like Google.com. You have Google.com now. What else you have with Google.com? Images.google.com, maps.google.com, photos.google.com, videos.google.com. Yes or no? So google.com is main domain, main website, main domain. What we call main domain. Images.google.com, maps.google.com, all these are all called what? Subdomains. What are these called? Subdomain. So if I have google.com, can I have images or maps so many subdomains? Can I have it? Yes. So if I have sai.com, can I have subdomains for sai.com also or not? Let's say, can I have web.sai.com? Can I have like this? Yes or no? Yes, I can have web.sai.com or admin.sai.com. Can I have like this also? Okay, let's say I have web.sai.com. Can I send that web.sai.com to this load balancer? Yes or no? Think and answer. Google.com is different. Maps.google.com is different. Can I send it to the same load balancer? Sai.com is sending to this load balancer. Can I send web.sai.com to the same load balancer? Answer is no. Why? Do we have web.sai.com here? Website? No. Then how can you send it to the load balancer? Okay, now you tell me. Is it possible for me to put like this? One more like this. Having web.sai.com. Is that possible? City. Is this possible? Is that possible? Quickly, because guys, I need to take few more minutes, okay? Because we need to complete this. Is it possible to do? Answer is no. Where is redundancy? Do we have redundancy if I put web.sai.com there? Did we learn as a part of high availability? We have three things, right? Redundancy, monitoring, failover. Redundancy meaning keeping the same application on multiple EC2 instances. So web.sai.com is different, sai.com is different. Is it possible to put different application with same load balancer? It is like just like if you type google.com, you'll get maps. It's not good. For this, what I need to do? I need to create separate load balancer for this or not? Yes, here I should not put it. For this, I need to create another load balancer. Another load balancer. Here I need to put what now? Web.sai.com. I need to put separately. You're getting it, my points. If you are able to get it, this is the most best real-time things for you. Okay, see here. For web.sai.com, I need to have separate load balancer. Okay, for admin.sai.com, I need to have separate load balancer or not? Yes. For 3 websites, I have 3 load balancers. If I have 10 subdomains, I need to go with the 10 load balancer. Is that good? Is that good? Just imagine if you have 50 subdomains. Subdomains are free. If you have 50 subdomains, do you need to go for 50 load balancers? That is the problem with classic load balancer. That is the problem with classic. So classic load balancer doesn't support multiple websites like this. So classic load balance, that's a problem with classic load balancer. See, so you need to have multiple ELBs with CLB. That's why classic load balancer is a previous load balancer. It's a previous load balancer. You understand the problem? Should we see how application load balancer is handling this? You understand the problem first. Online, is this clear? So the problem here is for every domain and subdomain, I need to have separate load balancers. But how does application load balancer will do for us? Let's see. What is this? What load balancer is this? Application load balancer. What load balancer? Listen this guys first. Application load balancer. What is the website that we have first? Sai.com. For Sai.com, we need to have a EC2 instance or not? We need to have a EC2 instance. Sai.com. We need to have EC2 instance. Sai.com. And these are EC2 instance or not? These are all EC2. Okay. So now, one more website is there. What is that website? web.sai.com. http://web.sai.com. Now, whenever someone hits sai.com, it will come to the load balancer. Yes or no? And load balancer will distribute this to sai.com. Yes or no? Perfect. Okay. And someone is coming with web.sai.com. Someone is coming with web.sai.com. Tell me, load balancer should send the traffic to this? No. What you can have it here? Can you have separate EC2 instances here for web.sai.com? Yes. See. So here, web.sai.com, web.sai.com. So load balancer should send the traffic to this. But how does the load balancer knows to which it should redirect? Yes or no? Yes or no? That's a problem, right? So Nana, here we have a concept called groups, target groups. What groups? What we do is here, we can set up a target group. This is one group. What group is that? This is another group. Yes or no? What target group can I call it as here? Target group. This is a target. Give the name of this target group. Let's say Sai TG. TG meaning target group. Here, can I call it as Web Sai TG? You can give any name. So what I do is I need to group it. So whenever someone is coming from Sai.com, coming to Sai.com, load balancer has something called rules. What is that? So we need to configure rules for the load balancer. That was not there with the classic load balancer. That is there with the application load balancer. What is the rule that we can configure? Babu, if anyone is coming for Sai.com, redirect to Sai TG. Redirect to Sai TG. Redirect to Sai TG. You getting it? So this is called host-based routing. What based routing is called? Host-based routing. So Nana, if someone is coming from web.sai.com, can he redirect to the second target group? Yes, redirect to Web Sai TG. You understand? Load balancer have that intelligence. What you need to do, you need to create a rules. In the load balancer, you need to create a rules. What is the rule that you need to create? If someone is coming for Sai.com, redirect to this group. If someone is coming from web.sai.com, redirect to this group. If someone is coming for something.com, redirect to that group. Can you do it like that? That is called what? Host-based routing. What is that? And also, can you tell me, you will have the URL like this also, no? Developers, http://sai.com/admin/ at the end admin. Like this also, so many more websites will be there. Yes or no? This is called path-based routing. What is that? Because at the end, what you have? Path/admin is a path, no? That is called path-based routing. What is that? Path-based routing. So for this, we need to create a separate group or not? Yes. We need to create a separate. For what, Nana? Admin group. What group is this? Admin target group. So this is, you can put /admin. So with one load balancer, see, can we do so many things? That is why it is called as latest generation. And this is the target or admin TG. So if someone is coming for admin TG, load balancer will identify based on the rule and it will send the traffic to admin. And this is called what based routing? Path-based routing. And on the top, we call it as host-based routing. Because host name is different. Sai.com, web.sai.com. Host name difference is that is called host-based routing. And the one, if you have /@ path-based routing. And if you have like ? String parameter routing. So like this, you have different types of routing. So with one load balancer, you can route it like this. Do you understand? Is this clear, guys? Everyone? Too much technical, deeper, but you understand, right? Okay, now you tell me, load balancer should listen on which protocol? Load balancer should listen on which protocol? Yes. What we call it as? Listeners. What we call? Listener. HTTP or HTTPS. For load balancer, what is the protocol that you can allow? Only HTTP, HTTP. Is there any other protocol? Is it possible to log into load balancer as SSH RDP? No. So for load balancer, the listeners will be always HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS meaning certificates, no? Remember, HTTPS meaning certificate, encryption certificates, no? So here, generally, these certificates, where do you purchase these certificates? GoDaddy, Come-Mummy, there are so many, GoDaddy are there. So you need to go and purchase in GoDaddy, get the certificate. Yes or no? But as we are using AWS, is it good to go to GoDaddy? Is it good to go to some other mummy? No. So AWS has a separate service inside its to purchase the certificates. You know what is that service name? ACM. What is that? Amazon Certificate Manager. What is that, Nana? Amazon Certificate Manager. So in ACM, what do you create? Certificates. What do you create? Certification question. So if I ask you a question, where do we create certificates, HTTPS certificates in AWS? Louder. What is ACM? Amazon Certificate Manager. Access keys, secret keys, where do we create? Access and secret keys, where do we create? IAM. Encryption keys, where do we create? Very good. Encryption keys, where do we create? KMS. Certificates, HTTPS certificates, where do we create? ACM. You see the differences? These are different services. Nana, clear? Understand the load balancers concept? Different types of load balancer, what each load balancer is doing, which one we should be using, what are the rules we have, what are the characteristics, properties. Clear? Super. So there is a question. Sir, is AWS LB free? If yes, which LB type is free? And which LB is offered which free tier? So load balancer, we will be going for application load balancer, which is free only. But we create it, we use it, and then delete it. Don't keep it like that. If you keep it like this, it will be charged. We'll be just using for maximum 1 hour. You do it and then kill it. You don't get the bills. Take the screenshots. Thank you for spending 10 more minutes. Okay. Priyanka, that gateway load balancer is related to your third-party security appliance. If you want to install firewalls, if you want to, generally firewalls is completely managed by AWS. But if you want to set up your own firewall on EC2 instances, and to have a load balancer, no, for high availability purpose, if you set up firewall in one EC2, another firewall in another EC2, you need to have load balancer to distribute the traffic, right? For that reason, if you want to have those kind of requirement, then you need to go for which load balancer? Gateway load balancer. Done this one. And this Picasso also you need. Okay, we can take. But you understand, take it. Good. And the last. Okay. Good. So mostly tomorrow will be the last day for EC2 theory. Okay. So mostly from day after tomorrow, we'll start the practicals on EC2. And I really appreciate the patience, because in my previous batches, they always script me, sir, practicals. When I start practicals, your hands will pain. But for that, you need to understand the logics and theory, for that reason. But this batch is completely, no one asked till now. It's really good. We are going in very good and smooth way. Very nice. Okay. So, okay. No, Vishaka. Can you give the final CC for today, please? CC with smile. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next important, beautiful topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.